Happy Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. You're watching the Daily Mix TV. Hi, my name is Sean Patrick Hillman. Sephora is about to embark on its most ambitious expansion yet. Now, before I get too deep into this story, please bear in mind, in the interest of full disclosure, that I was part of the original launch team that brought the Sephora concept to the US. We were charged with launching the brand and opening their first 100 doors. You know, it's hard to believe that that was almost 25 years ago. Where the hell did the last 2 decades go? Anyway, here's what's going on with Sephora. The beauty mecca is set to open more than 60 freestanding, client-centric stores and 200 store-within-a-store locations at Kohl's later this year. The standalones will begin to open this month with locations planned across the Pacific Northwest, Florida, and in Texas, you got Dallas, Houston, and Austin, LA, and Nashville. These new locations are going to feature a sleek architectural and visual design that focuses on that classic Sephora DNA we helped to build 25 years ago. Same look and feel. Now, there is one enhancement. They are making changes to the lighting for a better beauty experience, so that's great. Now, according to the company, quote, following a year in which e-commerce dominated the retail landscape, this move signals Sephora's confidence in the future of the brick-and-mortar shopping experience and continued creation of welcoming spaces for all. Now, Sephora and Kohl's also revealed where the first 200 Sephora Kohl's locations are going to be. The in-store shops are set to open in LA, including the Inland Empire, New York, New Jersey, Ohio, as well as the Chicago area, Minneapolis, and Wisconsin. Now, the in-store shops are going to average about 2,500 square feet. They'll feature the same, look and feel and experience that, Sephora's been known for. More than 100 makeup, skincare, hair, and fragrance brands will be featured across those store-within-a-store concepts. Now, in no surprise, Sephora is also continuing its focus on omni-channel growth. They're focusing on BOPIS, Buy Online, Pick Up In-Store service, to all its freestanding stores by April of this year. Now, this comes after a pilot of something I've never heard of, Reserve Online, Pick Up In-Store, which is kind of interesting. It enables customers to reserve products in their local Sephora stores for up to 2 days. So, excuse me, lots of things going on with the beauty mecca. We used to call it the candy store for women. When we launched Sephora back in the late 90s, the entire idea was about a departure from the department store and the mass market model. It was meant to be somewhere in the middle, but obviously much more prestigious in terms of that look, feel, approach, those kinds of things. To be honest with you, there were a lot of brands that wouldn't do business with Sephora in the early days because they were threatened by Saks Fifth Avenue or by Federated and so on and so forth. What's interesting is back then, Sephora was known as the brand incubator. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out for Sephora. I'm glad to see the Buy Online, Pick Up In-Store service. I'm interested to see how the store-within-a-store concept at Kohl's is going to work compared to their earlier deal, which doesn't exist anymore, with JCPenney, which is what allowed Sephora to grow so incredibly rapidly. We'll keep an eye on it. Oh boy, the Amazon and Walmart war is continuing to heat up as the world's largest retailer, Walmart, eliminates the $35 minimum order requirement it previously had for its express delivery service. That service ships items to customer doors in less than 2 hours. Now, it launched on a wide scale in May of last year in an answer to the pandemic and what they were looking for with respect to trying to keep revenues up. Express delivery allows customers to order items from Walmart's food, consumables, and general merchandise assortment, such as produce, pantry staples, everyday essentials, toys, and electronics. Now, the service for Walmart costs $10 on top of an existing delivery charge, which is about $8 or $10, but there's no markup on any item pricing. Members of the Walmart Plus subscription program, which costs about $98 a year or $12.95 a month, only have to pay the $10 express fee, not the delivery charge. Now, in comparison, Amazon Prime Now 2-hour delivery is only available to members of Amazon Prime subscription. That's $119 annually or $12.99 a month. Prime Now orders of less than $35 have a $4.95 fee. Otherwise, there's no extra charge. Now, express delivery is currently offered in nearly 3,000 Walmart doors, and their free curbside pickup service still carries a $35 minimum order. Here's the challenge I have with all of this. Walmart and Amazon have been locked in this war for almost a decade now. Believe it or not, it's been that long. Primarily, I'd say the last 6 or 7 years is when you had the highest concentration of the tete-a-tete between the two brands. The issue at hand here, though, is Walmart, even though you've got this subscription program at $98 a year, it's about $20 less than Amazon's is for Amazon Prime, but you still have to pay the $10 express fee. And if you don't have the Walmart Plus program, you have to pay an additional delivery charge. That's pretty egregious for a company that's all about saving money for the consumer. So there's a reason why Amazon is winning that war. There's a reason why Jeff Bezos became the wealthiest person on the planet. At the end of the day, people who are Amazon fanatics, let's call them. I mean, my next door neighbor, I love her and her family to pieces. She must get 2-3 Amazon deliveries, well, maybe more, about 4 deliveries a week. And I know a lot of it's staple supplies and stuff like that. But when you look at it in comparison, there's no way somebody is ordering 3-4 times a week from Walmart unless they're also getting their groceries and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to find it very hard to believe that Walmart is going to be able to win this part of the war based purely on the pricing model and what we know is coming down the pipe in the economy. So let's depart this story for a second, and I wasn't going to do this, but let's take a second to talk about the economy and what's going on. Right now, everyone is under the impression, because of the media, because of social, all of these influencers, that we're going to recover from this within 18 months. I'd really love to know what drugs they're taking and why they aren't sharing this. And here's why I say this. The moratorium on evictions, the federal moratorium, is up at the end of this month. There are millions upon millions of people who are defaulting on mortgages, who haven't paid their rent since the pandemic began, and they're all set for eviction. Now, granted, the courts are going to be about 7 to 10 months behind schedule because of the high concentration of defaults. The challenge you have is, if those people are unemployed still, okay, and you've got the White House pushing that $15 minimum wage guarantee, corporations are going to start laying more people off in order to save on their profit margin. And on top of it, now the price of gas is going up, which affects everything. Food prices are already up. The price of fuel per gallon is already up across the country. And a lot of this has to do with the Keystone pipeline getting killed by Biden. Certainly what's going on with Russia and their pipeline that had been killed for a while and now it's come back. There are a lot of challenges in the economy. For people to think that we're going to recover in 18 months, a miracle will need to happen for that to take place. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. There are certain signs that we're going to have an easier recovery time than you would in a typical recessive economy or even depressive economy at that point. But we got to keep an eye on this and stay close to what's going on with the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate, this morning, it was announced that it went up a little bit. So, of course, a lot of that has to do with seasonal transactions and things like that. We just need to stay vigilant, and we've got to prevent people from spending their stimulus checks, because it looks like there will be a stimulus check coming next month or the end of this month. We got to stop them from spending that money on ridiculous crap on Amazon or Walmart or, at their local bodega or local store. They need to start spending that money on their actual bills. When you look at companies like Verizon, who took the extraordinarily cool and interesting step to stop, recovery programs and things like that for past due bills and things, they gave everybody a break during the pandemic. Now, a lot of that's changed, and they've ended that program. But when you calculate somebody who's got $125 a month bill, At the end of the day, if you multiply that by 3 or 4, that's a significant amount of money to someone. So if they're unable to pay that bill because they went out and bought their kids, a new Xbox, a series of Xbox games, or they bought movies on Apple TV or whatever it is, at the end of the day, that money is intended to help you pay your bills down, not buy more stuff. So here's to hoping that common sense starts to win out overall, especially as this next round of stimulus payments comes through. On to the rest of the news. Turkey Hill's product offering just got a whole lot bigger. The company is adding 3 new lines of frozen sweets to its portfolio of novelties. New additions include ice cream cookie sandwiches, fruit and ice cream bars, and layered sundae cups. So when it comes to new ice cream cookie sandwiches, the line is available in 4 different flavors: vanilla bean, peanut butter, chocolate, and choco mint chip. The fruit and cream bars are available in 4 varieties: strawberry, coconut, orange, and strawberry lemonade. And then lastly, the layered sundae cups, which are already assembled, are available in 8 flavors, and that includes caramel brownie, cookies and cream, cookie dough delight, bit of a tongue twister, strawberry shortcake, peanut butter cup, ultimate fudge, chocolate cream pie, and party cake. Quote, in addition to expanding its products nationwide to reach homes across the country, Turkey Hill is launching 3 brand new novelties lines to provide more ways for consumers to enjoy the #1 brand of ice cream in the Northeast. Turkey Hill novelties are crafted using quality ingredients and creamy premium ice cream, because life, like ice cream, should be joyful and sweet. And that's Kristen Ohm, who is the marketing director for Turkey Hill. Consumers can now find Turkey Hill's new launches in the freezer aisle at retailers nationwide. So let's take a second and talk about ice cream and the frozen food section. So when you get into ice cream and novelties, as I said yesterday, it's that time of year. You're going to have announcements over the next couple of weeks from every single brand. It happens every year. And for Turkey Hill to do this the way that they are is kind of cool. I don't really know that people understand how big a brand Turkey Hill actually is. I mean, in the Northeast, if you go to almost any grocery store, certainly any chain drug or mass market retailer, you're going to see a large amount of Turkey Hill available. You go to other markets, not so much. Now, when I think about ice cream and I think about, what's going on in terms of the space, it's very interesting. Chipwich, which was a childhood favorite of mine, they came back a few years ago. They had sent me samples when they launched. Thank you guys. As I said at that time, it blew me away. The way that the gentleman who acquired the intellectual property of Chipwich had rebuilt the brand was brilliant. The cookies are, more natural. They don't have that fake chemical taste to it that a lot of ice cream sandwiches do in terms of more of a chocolate chip format. Ice cream was delicious, and they've since launched a birthday cake variant off the original. I'm hearing rumors they're launching other flavors, but I don't see them yet, so only time will tell. But again, we're headed into that time of year, and a lot of you are probably like, hang on, it's March. Why is he talking about something for summer? Well, it's actually very simple. The retail cycle plans way out in advance, because once you've manufactured a product, it still takes time to get that into retail distribution. Once you've planned a product, it takes time to get that into manufacturing. So these guys plan these things way ahead of time, and then they announce it a few months before the time period is relevant. And they do that to get out ahead of the news cycle, especially when you get into what happens around Memorial Day and those kinds of things. One of the reasons why a lot of these companies announce in February and March is they want to get out ahead of Easter. Easter, in terms of confections and those kinds of formats or categories, is incredibly noisy and dense with information. So getting out ahead of that is very important for ice cream and novelty companies. So back to Turkey Hill, I think it's brilliant what they're doing. The new flavors on the assembled sundaes, the layered sundae cups, is actually very interesting. When you look at party cake, it's got that sort of almost unicorn feel to it. Then you've got a big play on chocolate and peanut butter, and one of my perennial favorites, strawberry shortcake. So it's going to be interesting to see how this performs. We'll keep an eye on it for you and report back when we know more. Looks like Nordstrom is going to start working out. Time for that brand to get a little fit. They're jumping into the at-home fitness trend. The department store giant is partnering with Tonal, which sells a high-tech, wall-mounted exercise station that uses advanced artificial intelligence software, much like Peloton, and we'll get into that in a second. Starting this month, Nordstrom is opening mini Tonal shops in 40 doors across 20 states. The 50-square-foot space will be located in the women's active department. Customers will be able to experience a full Tonal demo and try a workout firsthand. So Tonal focuses on strength training through digital weight resistance. It sells for almost $3,000, and similar to Peloton, they've got a monthly subscription model that gives members personal training sessions, recommended programs, and workouts. Now, Nordstrom's partnership with the high-tech fitness company comes as they're making a wider push into athleisure and fitness wear and gear categories. So, like any good retailer, Nordstrom sees an opportunity. Peloton has their own doors, and they've got limited partner programs and things like that. Tonal is a little more open to doing partner programming because they haven't spent that kind of money on their own infrastructure the way that Peloton has. And on top of it, frankly, Peloton led the way in this space. So Tonal is more of the challenger brand against Peloton in this space. For Nordstrom to capitalize on the challenger brand status is actually a very smart move. Tonal gets the benefit of being able to expand their marketing without spending any more money because of point of impact in store, certainly in part of the contract that they'll have with Nordstrom, which you should always negotiate when you're doing these kind of programs. You want to make sure when you're negotiating a store within a store concept or a distribution model with respect to a retailer, you want to make sure that marketing is included in that contract and you've spent the time going through what consumer impact looks like, what the demographics of the store are, how you can capitalize on those things appropriately without spending a lot of money. So for Tonal, this makes all the sense in the world. For Nordstrom, who saw the trend in the space with respect to Peloton, compared to perhaps what we saw as a trend 5 years ago, looking at SoulCycle and things like that, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a smart move for Nordstrom to push on this button, given the popularity of athleisure. Certainly how many people are complaining about, oh, I've gained the COVID-15 or COVID-19 in terms of their weight, not the actual virus. For them to capitalize on that, knowing people are going to go back to working out, but more in a safe environment at home, makes all the sense in the world. So brilliant strategy to Nordstrom. Now, this pandemic is not going away anytime soon, no matter what the politicians are telling you. The aftermath of this last year of hell will be felt for a long time, again, despite what politicians are claiming. So you've got a lot of people in the media, politicians, influencer wannabes online, all saying that they believe we're going to recover in 18 months. I mean, there are people saying that New York City will come back within the year, okay? And I'm a lifelong third-generation Manhattan born and bred. I can tell you there's a snowball's chance in hell of that happening. The crime rate's too high. You got too many challenges with respect to this sort of retail zombie mentality where storefront after storefront's empty. What tourist wants to come and see that? So, and this town lives and dies by tourism in terms of being able to recover from the pandemic. Now, let me give you a different real-world example that hit the news this morning. United Airlines is set to put over 3,000 of its San Francisco staff back on furlough by April 1st. Now, according to the San Francisco Business Times, many of the United workers had already been furloughed once last year, and they'd come back to work at the beginning of the year. The latest round of furloughs is estimated to last 6 months, and an additional 662 employees at LAX will also be affected. This smacks of everything that's wrong with the way this pandemic has been managed in our country. And everyone's to blame, from former President Trump to now President Biden and everybody in between. Everyone is chasing a narrative, and it's their own narrative, not the narrative that helps the people. Therein lies the challenge. So what I would wish is that politicians wouldn't be so rosy-eyed and actually say what's real. We're not going to recover from this for a few years, and that's okay, as long as you know that, as long as we own that, and then move into, okay, here's how we're going to recover, here's what we're going to do. For a company like United, who historically has been one of the greediest airlines on the planet, for them to lay off that many people is not surprising to me. They're going to get a bailout from Congress, and it's going to be to the tune of billions of dollars, and it won't matter because they're there to satisfy their investors. That's their job. Their job is to get you from point A to point B without killing you, without crashing a plane, okay? And they want to upsell you in other things from a luxury standpoint, and also, unfortunately, these days, from just a basic spend standpoint. So compound that with the reality that their other job is to satisfy their investors. That's the whole point of being a public company. So for United, I guarantee you those furloughed workers are going to come back in a much lower headcount. On a couple of personal notes, just wanted to say a very happy belated birthday to one of my oldest and dearest friends, Debbie Pinsky. Her husband, Jeff, is, partner at ePromos. It's a company that, we all use with respect to promotional items. I've known Debbie since high school. I love you, my old friend. I hope Jeff and the girls made it a spectacular day. Second and lastly, a happy 19th anniversary to my friends Lisa and Froggy. I've spoken about them before on the show. Froggy's a co-host of my old pal and Rock and Roll High board member Elvis Duran's morning show. It's the #1 drive time morning radio show in the country. Love you guys. Speaking of which, if you haven't listened to Elvis Duran in the morning show, you have no idea what you're missing. I've known Elvis and the rest of the crew a very long time. If you're interested in learning more about the show and why it's loved by so many, including myself, head over to elvisduran.com or check out the show on the iHeartRadio app. All right, guys, I'm out of time. If you guys have any questions, comments, or story ideas, please email thedailymixtv@gmail.com. We'll see you tomorrow on Hump Day.